Welcome back to Breakdown, September the 7th, 2023. JJ, nothing better for a pickup than an episode of Breakdown with me and you doing it. And everybody needs a pickup, so I'm getting a pickup today, but we're going to talk some. Week 1 is in the book, week 2 is coming up. We're going to be talking some college football.
College football.
Before we get started on football, how you like my shirt?
I like it. Is it new?
You know what? It ain't quite new. I think I got it around about 1975. This shirt is about 40, almost 48 years old, man.
Yeah, that's
1975, I joined the U.S. Air Force. It used to say U.S. Air Force right here, where it has McCuller over here, right there. It was the U.S. Air Force. But JJ, it fits like it did the day I got it. Can you believe that?
Congratulations. I'm happy for you.
After 48 years, I'm still rocking it. That's all I got to say. But back to football, JJ. Week 1, it's in the books.
Yeah.
Any surprises? Anything arresting that we should talk about?
Well, normally we talk Big Ten and SEC, but I think the biggest surprise, well, a couple of big surprises happened in the Big 12. For one, the reigning runner-up in the championship game, TCU. They were a 3-touchdown favorite over
21 point
over Colorado, but unfortunately for them, they lost at home to Coach Prime, his son Shador Sanders, and the two-way star Travis Hunter. And in the process, Shador Sanders threw for a record-breaking 510 yards. That was the most ever thrown for the University of Colorado. So
JJ, is the sports world overreacting to Colorado's win?
Well, maybe. I mean, Deion Sanders has always been known for, self-promotion and promoting, things that involved with him. So obviously they're going to take a shine to someone that, draws that type of attention anyway.
Well, I will say, prime time, he got receipts. Let me ask you this question, though, JJ.
Indeed, he has receipts.
Is Auburn regretting the fact that they did not hire Coach Prime?
I mean, maybe they are, maybe they're not. I think that they got a pretty good coach.
I agree, and it's still super early.
It is very early. It's only been a 1-game sample size at the Power 5 level for Coach Prime, but it's off to a good start. It's better to start this way than to start,
I will say this: Prime time draws attention to the team he goes to. He did it at Jackson State. Colorado, JJ, doing their spring game, I think they had 40,000 people to attend their spring game. And as the answer would say, that's practice. We talking about practice. They had 40,000 at their spring game. And Arkansas barely had 40,000 at their game in Little Rock over the weekend. Very interesting. We're going to talk about primetime a little bit more. Any other games caught your attention? Or you want to talk more right now on primetime?
Oh, nah, we can talk about Colorado and Deion Sanders a little bit later.
Okay.
As far as other games, I mean,
in week 1.
In week 1, this isn't technically an SEC or Big Ten team, but Texas State has a couple of former SEC players. I mean, they have a lot of transfers. I think it's the second or third most transfers in the country.
They got 2 quarterbacks from the SEC.
2 quarterbacks from the SEC. One that was formerly on LSU and on Auburn.
Yeah.
And then another one formerly of Arkansas. That one would be Malik Hornsby. That's the one that didn't play.
Of that.
He unfortunately was not able to play in the upset win over Baylor. But TJ Finley, the ex-LSU Tiger and Auburn Tiger, he did play. He completed, I think, 20-some passes, over 200 yards passing. He rushed for about 20 yards, had a touchdown. Okay. On the ground too. Like he played really phenomenal. So
okay, JJ, we're going to talk about at least one other game. But Big Ten versus SEC, who had the better week 1?
The SEC did not have a great week. I think regardless of conference, the Pac-12 had the best week because I was
going to get there, but between the Big Ten and the SEC. It's not even close.
Yeah, the Big Ten had a better week, although Illinois really wanted to sabotage that.
They tried, but they won it almost at the end.
Yeah, Purdue lost.
Yeah.
They lost to Fresno State, but other than that, the Big Ten had a
they did.
Had a fine showing.
And, Purdue won the West Big Ten West last year.
Yeah, but they had a quarterback that got drafted in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft, and they had a
Yeah,
coach that.
but so did Alabama and so did Ohio State.
Yeah,
So
well, they
you're
didn't
trying to
lose.
say Purdue's not reloading.
Well, they lost their coach too, though.
Okay. That was still a surprise to me though. But the SEC, they kind of stunk it up with 3 big losses. South Carolina lost to North Carolina. Florida got destroyed by Utah.
Yeah.
I think Florida may be in some trouble. And Florida State beat LSU. Is Florida State right now, JJ, the number 1 team to win it all in the ACC?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the way Clemson looked against Duke, I think that you couldn't come to any other conclusion than Florida State has the horses on offense and defense to really lead the pack in that conference.
So right now, you can almost pencil in an ACC team in the Final Four. There's only going to be 4 teams this year in the college football playoff. I'm going to pencil in Florida State because that ex-Michigan State receiver looked pretty darn good in Keon Coleman. But JJ,
he did look really good.
He looked really good. Ohio State was at Indiana in week 1. What did you learn from that game?
Well, I learned that Ohio State didn't do much at all to prepare for Indiana's triple option. Indiana didn't score a lot of points, but they were able to move the ball pretty much at will against Ohio State. Okay. In the first half, what was the halftime score?
Oh man, it was really low. 7-3, 6-3.
Yeah,
I can't remember. It was a very low scoring game.
Yeah, it was like 7-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Their offense did not look explosive at all. I think both of the receivers are supposed to be All-Americans, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Buka. I think they both were held under 50 yards receiving. What was his name? Devin Brown was supposed to play. He only played 1 series, and he didn't throw. I know he didn't throw 2 passes. He might have thrown 1 pass, but he didn't throw 2.
Okay.
So he didn't actually get an opportunity to show himself. And Kyle McCord didn't really. I don't think he really took to the starting job by the reins or anything like that. So I think what you learned is that if you're an Ohio State Buckeyes fan, you should be concerned about the offense for the first time in a very long time.
Okay. It was 10-3 at halftime.
Okay, 10-3.
And actually, while Indiana did move the ball, their total yards production was kind of low. I mean, they didn't have 200 total yards offense. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe they were able to shape up in the second half, but
yeah. So week 2 is coming up.
Week 2 is coming up.
What's your favorite game for week 2? Want to go to the Big Ten first or the SEC first?
Why don't we start with the Big Ten?
Okay. Well, I know my favorite game in the Big Ten. Who's your favorite game in the Big Ten?
Favorite game in the Big Ten? This is gonna be everybody's favorite game. Friday night. Illinois, Kansas. That's what everybody's just waiting to see, dying to see.
That's an interesting game. Kansas is a 3-point favorite in that game, JJ.
Yeah. They're starting their backup quarterback, Jason Bean. He's going to have to play again. Jaden Daniels is out.
Okay. Who you got in that game?
That's a good one. I'm going to have to go with Kansas. I like Kansas I like them to cover.
Kansas is the home team. I will go with that. Another interesting Big Ten team game Saturday. I forget the name of it. Iowa State.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They call it the Cyhawk.
Yeah, Cyhawk.
Cyclones and Hawkeyes.
Yep. What you take on that game? Big Ten versus Big 12.
Big 10 versus Big 12. Those are the two conferences leading the way in expansion as it pertains to, grabbing up. I mean, they completely, they completely decimated the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I would just say that, Iowa pretty much usually wins this game. I think they've won 6 of the last 7 or something like that. They're 3.5-point favorites as road favorites. So I like Iowa to cover the 3.5. Their offensive coordinator, Iowa's offensive coordinator, has to average 25 points a game to have his contract renewed. That's a clause.
I did not know that.
And they scored 24 points last week against Utah State. So I like him to use whatever opportunity he can to score as many points as he can.
That's an interesting clause in a contract. If you were an offensive coordinator, would you accept that in your contract?
Yeah, I think 25 isn't too much to ask. I remember like looking it up.
Well,
and
last
thinking
year
it
they
was,
probably didn't even average 12.
I know, but that last
It's
year
double.
they had the worst offense in the country.
Okay.
So I think 25 points would have put them at 70th or something. So I don't think that's too much to ask
But
you to have a top 70 offense if you're a Big Ten offensive coordinator.
okay.
At a school like Iowa, I mean maybe Rutgers or something, but if you're at a school like Iowa that made it to the championship game, they made it to the championship game multiple times.
True. They never won it.
I mean,
but
yeah.
JJ, do you know what's the big deal about that game this year?
What's the big deal? Well, the betting spread.
No.
Because of the gambling between the Iowa and Iowa
Oh yeah,
State?
I forgot about that. I ain't going to talk about that. But the really big deal in this game,
That's what.
Donald Trump has been invited to attend, and he says he's going to be there. But who knows if he's going to be there or not? You know, they are getting ready for the Iowa caucus that starts early next year.
Yeah, he said a lot of things.
So,
But we can move on. Right. We can sidestep that.
okay,
right?
now let's go to
away.
the real big game from the Big Ten this coming weekend.
Okay.
Week 2.
What's that?
Nebraska gets to go to Colorado. JJ, is this a trap game for Colorado?
I don't think it should be a trap game. I mean, they're home and they're only 3-point favorites.
Is Nebraska getting Colorado at a really good time?
Well, I mean that's for Colorado to tell.
I'm gonna say yeah. You know, we're talking about a lot of young people young players who, when the season started, nobody believed them. Now everybody's telling them how good they are. You know, it's easy to get sidetracked, not prepare the way you should. To me, this is a perfect trap game for for Nebraska to win. It's a perfect game for them to win. They played a tough game at Minnesota, losing as time expired on the field goal. I do think Colorado got some good players. I think the quarterback, Sanders, is good. Hunter, the defensive back, is good. And the other Sanders for Colorado played defense. He led Colorado in tackles last week. So Primetime got 2 sons that are producing pretty well. But give me your take on this game, man.
Well, to answer your question, I don't think this is a good time to catch Colorado. I think this is quite possibly the worst time to catch Colorado. Because Colorado doesn't have any depth. Travis Hunter, they need Travis Hunter to play both ways for a reason. So I think after the attrition of a Pac-12 season, I think you'd rather play Colorado late in the season.
They would have injuries and stuff.
I think now is, this is as healthy as, they're going to be. I mean, I guess I don't really remember anybody sustaining any injuries in the TCU game, but it could happen. But, Travis Hunter was dancing in the post-game locker room. He was full of energy.
It was super hot in Dallas, Texas Saturday, and Hunter played over 100 snaps.
Over 120 snaps for sure.
That's a lot of snaps.
And now he'll have to do it in altitude, back in Boulder, Colorado. It'll be a little cooler.
I don't think it's doable personally.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, hopefully you don't have to use. Hopefully you can get out to a big lead. You can use them a lot in the first quarter. And then you don't have to use him on offense. You can just ride out I mean, that's what I would assume would be their strategy for a game, especially a game against Nebraska, which, the Pac-12 schedule is going to be difficult.
It is very difficult.
Yeah, Nebraska
because
Nebraska should be one of the easiest. Their easier games on the schedule.
Well, I'm saying Colorado has already played TCU, and now they're playing Nebraska. The Pac-12 is loaded this year.
Absolutely.
The Pac-12 is loaded. JJ, if we were to look at this week's top 10, and we included the teams that next year will be in the big, if we looked at this week's rankings, the top 10 rankings, and we included the teams next year that will be in the Big Ten would have 5 of the top 10 teams. So I'm just saying that, and that because 2 new Pac-12 members come in, but the Pac-12 is loaded. Only power conference to go undefeated in week 1, so they tough. But you think Colorado will cover the point spread against Nebraska?
I would expect them to. I don't have a lot of faith in Nebraska's offense. I think Matt Rule eventually will get it going, but this is year one. I'm gonna take Colorado. Who do you have?
Man, if you know what, and I'm not gonna do it. If I was putting money on this game, I would take the points.
Okay.
I would take the points. And you know what, man, I know. I heard Primetime's pregame speech, one of the best pregame speech I've ever heard, and I know he's going to try to get those guys motivated and keep them ready for this game. But I don't know. I think it might be a tough one. But JJ, we need to go to the SEC.
Yeah, let's pivot away from the Big Ten. Let's go to the SEC. Let's go to
Okay.
the big matchup: Texas at Alabama. Bama's a 7-point favorite.
I would take Bama to win outright, but I don't know about covering 7 points. Let's talk about their quarterback. Is he sufficient to win this game?
Let's talk about it. Jalen Milroe accounted for 5 touchdowns against Middle Tennessee, but Texas is not Middle Tennessee. They have a lot of guys that will be playing in the NFL. They did lose Bijan Robinson, but they do still have Quinn Ewers. And I don't know if Jalen Milroe has what's in him to go toe to toe with Quinn Ewers just right now. 7 points is a lot of points. I like Alabama, usually, and I know this is, you don't ever want to take Steve Sarkisian in a battle against Nick Saban, but I think Texas. I've heard all about this talent that Texas has. I think Texas should have beat them last year with their backup quarterback.
Yeah. They was at Texas though.
At
last year.
Texas.
They're going to be at Alabama this year.
Yeah, if Quinn Ewers is who he says he is, if he's a first rounder like he's supposed to be, Texas win this game. So I'm going to take them to cover for sure. I don't know if they win.
Okay, so we disagree on that. JJ, other SEC games. One that interests me, and not because of the competition or anything like that, is Auburn has to go to Cal.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I'm interested in that game, that's a future SEC Big Ten matchup. But the only reason I'm interested in that game because Auburn has a quarterback from Michigan State, Peyton Thorne, and Cal has a quarterback who, when he was in high school, was a receiver for Peyton Thorne in the Chicago area. He caught over 800 yards with Peyton Thorne throwing him the ball, and then when Peyton Thorne left, he moved to a quarterback, and now he's a Cal quarterback. And so I'm just interested to see how that game plays out. But aside from the Alabama-Texas game, Mississippi Tulane, 2 top 25 teams playing each other, and it's going to be at Tulane.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that Mississippi is willing to go to Tulane. Mississippi is a 7.5 road favorite over Tulane, and they put up a lot of points.
73, I believe.
Yeah, they put up 7 in the 70s. They did it along with Oklahoma did it, and I can't remember who else did it. Some others, Oregon. Those are the schools that did it last week.
Tulane. Last year in the bowl game,
they beat USC.
They beat a pretty good team in USC.
Yeah, so they beat the Heisman Trophy winner.
Tulane is no pushover.
Not a pushover, but I do like Ole Miss to cover. Who do you have in that one?
Man. I would probably take Tulane and the points.
Okay, you take them to cover the 7.5. That is quite a big number, and they are going to be at home.
Okay.
Finally, I say we go to Miami, and we talk
Texas
about
A&M.
the Texas A&M Aggies versus the Miami Hurricane. Both had really underwhelming seasons last year.
They did. And both of them have high expectations.
And this is another game where the road team is the favorite. A&M is getting, they're giving 4 points to Miami. Who do you have?
I'm not sold on A&M. I'm taking the points. Who do you have?
I'm also not sold on A&M, but I'm also not sold on Miami. So
Neither am I.
I'm a little bit more sold on A&M now that Jimbo's deferring to Bobby Petrino a little bit more. So I'm gonna roll with the Aggies, and it feels gross to say that, but that's what I'm doing this week.
Well, there you have it, America. You got JJ and my take on week 1 and preview of week 2. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Come back next week and see how we roll for the next week. But JJ, I'm about ready to get out of here. Do you got anything?
Nothing. I got nothing. Arkansas is gonna beat Kent State next week.
We'll pick Suey.
We'll pick Suey.
No, go ahead.
And who dat?
Week 1. I know you're ready for that.
I'm excited. Let's get out of here.
Peace out.